Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Link. It's been a while since we looked at this video, so we're going to be discussing whether we think this has got continuation to the downside or whether we see that there is a potential for a bounce here. Okay, so first things first, I just want to say thank you for watching the video. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. This really helps motivate us to carry on putting out content. Also in the description below, leave us a comment, with any feedback you may have or coin requests. Okay, so let's get into the price action here. So primarily what I'm looking at here is the potential that we are within this fourth wave move, and I'm looking at this move potentially as a flat correction. And there's a couple of ways of looking at this. We could look at this as a fourth wave here and then an expanding ending diagonal within this move here, or we could look at this as an A, B, and a C. So we're going to investigate both ways. So if this is a completed move here, then we could be looking for a bigger move to the upside. But if we are still looking for this fifth wave, we're going to go over this first, then we'd be looking for this to start to break down from this point. So if we have a look here, the structure at the moment just looks to be corrective, though we still haven't managed to break back above this high point here. So it is possible what we could be doing is setting up for a 1, 2, and then looking for this to be a third wave within this move here. If this is the case, what we would be looking for again is the fact that this move within itself here could be a 1, 2 situation. If this is the case, what we would be looking for is this to be a 1, this to be a 2, and then looking for that third wave down again. If this is the case, what we'd be looking at doing is effectively we wouldn't want to cross this high point here at $6.44. Moving back above that point would make me have to just look at this as a corrective move. We could potentially count as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 into this low. And then we're looking for a move to the upside. So we'll go over this option first. So basically within this move, if we're looking for the potential of extension here, what we would be looking for is holding this 6.44 zone, and then we would be looking for confirmation. So off the current area, if I just have a look at something here, if we just measure this to the upside as a and a B, so we can see that we haven't reached a typical third wave zone, so it's possible this is still a corrective structure. If we move past the $6.27, then it would be possible that we're looking to move to the upside here, and we'll go over the upside potential in shortly. But should we fail to do so, and we do start to break down, basically off of this current structure that we have, the third wave typically would come in around this 576. 576 zone. So this would then look for a fourth and a fifth wave. I'm just going to change these subwaves down. So this would be micro, and then this would be subminute. Okay. Then basically what we'd be looking at here is the potential for an additional drop in the fifth wave. And this would then become this third wave. Then we would look for continuation to the downside. If I get rid of this now, we pull this up to this high point here. 382 is there, and then basically we could be looking to break down further in the zone. So this would just be typical areas that we could look to target out, provided there's no extension. So this could look to end around this 5688 to this 5642 zone. Should we fall down into the zone, this could then effectively be a completed fifth wave. Even though it would have maybe just broken this, it could be truncated. Though the typical area we would be looking to target out for this fifth wave, and where I'd be expecting it to go if it does extend further, would be this 5.57 zone to this 5.41 area. This zone would be a typical area for a fourth wave, for a fifth wave off of this fourth wave zone. So this is one way we can potentially look at it. We could look to maybe target out this zone again, maybe just break below this low and then move to the upside. Though if there is extension, we could look to move down further into this box. So alternatively, if we wanted to look at this slightly different, and we wanted to call this a 1 with a flat up in here, 3, 4, and 5. So effectively this would then become our wave 1 zone. Then what we would want to see happen is potentially this could all just be a wave, a B wave, and then we look for a C wave. So we'd be looking for a move up into the zone. Oh, let me get it on the right point here, over there. We'd be looking for a move up into the zone of $6.04, and basically all the way up to the $6.07 range. This little zone here would be a typical B wave retracement, and we could allow for us to continue to the downside, and then we'd be looking for basically for this move to progress downwards. If, however, we do move above the 6120 area, this would invalidate any of this potential that we've been talking about here. So if we just have a look at this, this 0.618 sits quite nicely on some previous support and resistance here. So let's get a typical third wave off of that zone then. We could look to move up to the $6 zone. It's a psychological support, and as well, you know, the $6.03. So we're already past the $6. We could look to get rejected from here, or we could look to push a little bit higher, maybe retest some of these zones here, and then look to move away. Okay, so if we use that as our anchor point, basically, then a typical third wave would be looking for this 5668 zone. And if I just redraw this so I can keep this other target area here, basically what we would be looking at is a move like this, 1, 2, down in a 3, 4, and this would affect the target area slightly, and we would be looking closer towards this green box zone. So between this 562 and this 557 zone. This would be a little area that we could look to potentially target out if we have that rather as a if we count that rather as a 5-wave move and not as a 1-2-1-2 situation. Though, like I said, we have to be aware that we could potentially look to move to the upside from here if we look at this as a ending diagonal within this move here. So basically, these would be our little target zones if we're looking to break to the downside, potentially into this box here, and then this is the impulsive trigger or the typical third wave move of a of this wave one. So this is what I'm sort of looking for confirmation that we have a bigger 5-wave move. However, it is possible that because we've had quite a long wave one here, it is possible that we could see this third wave potentially be here, and then we'd look for a fourth up into this zone here of the previous fourth wave, and then looking for continuation back to the downside again. So that's something we need to be aware of. We could see potentially some extension here to the downside, in which we move down and we reach this 1.618 area, which is this 5.227 area, and then we look for a wave up and then continuation to the downside. Basically, within this move, if it does play out as shown here, we'd be looking to come up and target this zone again of this previous fourth, and then look to move down again. Okay, so that is basically what we're looking at for the downside. So we could potentially move down into these zones and then look to reverse up. And basically within this move, if we were looking at it to be a completed 5-wave move in this zone, we'll go to one of our boxes that we've put in here. And if we just grab this onto this zone here, we look into there, we can see that this 382 would actually line up quite nicely with this previous 4th wave again. So it is possible that maybe what we would get is that this third wave, let me just move down a little bit there, this third wave would come into the zone here, move up for a fourth, and then continue to the downside. Obviously, this lower target wouldn't be as deep anymore, and this lower target would be potentially in the zone of this 5468 to this 527 area. So if we do move down into that zone, then basically what we'd be looking for is the potential that we could have just a ABC correction here and not a bigger 5-wave move. Though ideally what I am looking for is a bigger 5-wave move to the downside. Though until we cross this 0.3527 zone, we don't have confirmation of it, and we need more information by the way of wave structure within these smaller moves here. So that is what we're looking for. On the opposite end of the spectrum there, if I just delete these for now, these waves, what we could also be looking for is the potential that we have completed in this zone here, like we talked about. If this is the case, what we'd then be looking for is the potential that we have this move to the upside as a 5-wave move, and that we're looking for this retracement to the downside. It is possible that this B wave is already completed in these lows as an A, B, and a C. However, it is also possible that what we might get is that all of this becomes a wave into this low point. We look for a B wave retracement, and then we look to push down deeper into this zone. If this is the case, what we would be looking at is the potential that we have a move up back into this $6 area, like I said. So we could be within this zone already, like we said before. We could look to target potentially this $6.03 area, all the way up to sort of the $6.07 area would be a typical area, and then look to break down further. Though, should this not happen and we don't manage to break back below this low point here at 589, then it is possible that this B wave could actually be completed and we're not going to see this bigger B wave to the downside. And then what we'd be looking for is two things. Either we could be looking at this as a 1 and a 2, or this could be a and B. And if this is going to be developed into a zigzag, what we would be looking for is the potential that we have this as a wave into this high point, this is a B wave, and looking to target out this zone here of $6.35.8. If this is the case, that would then be looking at this move here developing as a 5-wave move. We can see here we've got a little bit of structure that could indicate it so far. Maybe this is a 1, 2. We're looking to set a 3rd wave in here and then look for a 5th and then retrace. So basically what we'd be looking for within this would be something like this, where we have a 5-wave move to the upside and then we look for this 3rd wave off of that zone. So off of the current structure, I think we do have additional waves if this is going to develop in this way, in this manner, and not break down. What we would be looking for then is basically a retracement back into. Let's have a look at this quickly again. I know we just did this, but so if we do move past this 6.028, then it's possible we could have a 5-wave move here, and what that would be is something like this. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Then from that 5th wave high, what we'd be expecting is a move to the downside in a wave 2. This would look to target out potentially this zone here of 0.5 to the 786. So maybe retesting some of these support zones here, and then looking to move back to the upside. If we do have a retracement down towards this 0.618 area, which is a common zone, what we could then be looking out for is the potential for this 5-wave move. And what we would be looking for here is, if this is a 1, we move down into this potential wave 2. Confirmation would come by crossing the 624. Then we would be looking for a 4th wave and then an additional 5th wave to the upside. So this would just be a rough estimate of where we would be looking for a typical 5th wave if these moves play out exactly as we have them plotted here. If they change slightly, it will affect the target area, but we could look for a move up here into the 632 to the 628 zone. So that's what we're currently looking out for. It kind of depends what happens from this low point here. If we've managed to stay above it, and this doesn't look to progress down in those two 5-wave move options that we talked about previously, then we could be looking for a move to the upside here in an ABC, or potentially a bigger 5-wave move. Though basically for a 5-wave move to the upside, we would have to cross above, well, the typical area would be the 66.663 area. This would be a typical 3rd wave area that we would look to travel to, and what we would then have is a bigger 5-wave move if this plays out. If this does play out, what we would have to be aware of is that maybe we could be setting up for a wave 2 of a bigger degree, so looking for this potentially to have been a completed move into this low here, and we'd have to just reevaluate the structure. And maybe what we've had is actually we've had an extension in the fifth wave here, and this is a 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 into these lows. We've had a fourth here, and then this has actually all been a fifth wave move. If that's the case, what we would be looking at is the potential of, if I just come back onto this high point here, we could look at the potential of moving up towards this zero point 0.5, which is the 665.6 area, all the way up to the 7.29 zone. We can see here the 702 lands quite nicely on this previous high point here, and then we also have some relationships between this 50% and some previous support and resistance. So it is possible that we could look to move slightly higher here, well, to move higher here as an A, B, and a C, and then this would just actually become a 1, 2 situation, and then we'd be looking for that additional drop to the downside. So we just need to be aware of that. Any moves to the upside here could still lead to continued sell-off at a later point, so we just need to monitor how these react. If we manage to stay above this red line zone, then we could be looking towards these bullish potentials to the upside. Though if we start to break down past this 576.5, it becomes more likely that we're actually moving down towards this target zone here in that fifth wave, and then we would look for that move to the upside. Okay, well, I hope everyone found this information useful, and if you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and why not leave us some feedback down in the comment section below. Really appreciate you guys watching and all your support. Thank you, and until we see each other in the next video, take care, everybody.